name is Cindy and today I am here with a book review, which is so uncommon for me, but it's gonna be my new thing. I'm gonna review most of the books I read. Get ready, people, I'm gonna be a reviewer, finally. I hope so. I hope so. Anyway, today I'm going to be reviewing Numbered by Amy Andrews and Ross Baxter, and these two ladies are Australian authors. This is an Australian book. They came to my town, Rockhampton, signed this lovely book for me, so that's very exciting. My mum got that for me. They lived in Rockhampton for a short amount of time, I believe, and they are in Brisbane currently, so love me a good local. So it's very exciting to read an Australian book, or Australian sort of set book, you could say, because there are other settings in this book, which I will get to. So basically, I'm going to start up with a non-spoilery because that's always the way to go. This book follows a young lady named Poppy. She is 29 and she is a love guru expert who does mathematical things for love, which is really an interesting job to begin with. And basically she finds out that she has terminal breast cancer, and she has written this bucket list with her best friend Julia in their teens. Since she is dying, basically she's going to go fulfill her bucket list. But little did she know she'd find some delicious young man to ensnare, and they fall in love, and it's just a beautiful love story. It's sad and heartbreaking as you would expect it to be, but it is really a great story. I don't know what else to say that's non-spoilery really. It was cool to read an Australian book. It was funny, it was sad, but also uplifting, and just a really great story, a really great contemporary if you like contemporaries and stuff. I'm personally not a big contemporary reader, but I still enjoyed it. But that's kind of it for the non-spoileries. I'm gonna go into some details now. So if you haven't read it, bye non-spoilery people, and if you just want to hear about it anyway, I'm gonna talk about it now, so you can stick around if you want, but let's get into it. Alrighty, I forgot this was an adult book straight out. I'm so used to reading young adult, and like occasionally I read adult books and things just here and there, but I really didn't remember this was an adult book. So straight off the bat, it's like sex scenes, sex scenes, sex scenes. I was like, oh right, I forgot, adult book, of course. Another thing I kept getting was it was Australia. The swearing, the good old true blue Aussie swearing reminded me, and sometimes they would say places in Australia and they would say certain things. I'd be like, oh yeah. I don't think I've ever really read an Australian set book before. I think I've only ever really read American books. So it was kind of exciting just occasionally when they'd reference Australia. I'm like, yeah, Australia, woohoo! But those were two things that I was like, whoa, I just didn't think about when I started this book. So at the beginning we are introduced to her best friend Julia, who actually, I think there's not a defined point of view in this book. Like we get a little bit from Poppy, and we also get stuff from her best friend Julia and also the male lover boy in this, Quentin. So it's not defined as a particular point of view in this book, which I thought was interesting. I felt like we got a lot of Julia though. I felt like most of this book to do with Julia's experience through Poppy's cancer, but it wasn't a bad thing. It was interesting having the different points of view. Not that they were very, very different, but I did enjoy that sort of stand-of point. So in the beginning, we basically are starting out with Poppy already doing her list because she is going in for her diagnosis to find out what sort of cancer she has with her best friend Julia. So basically, already she has a list, and the first one was like sleep with a stranger. So enter lover boy Quentin, and he is a rocker boy, you know, leader of a band, singer, 22-year-old man. So it sounds pretty juicy. I can't look at this cover. This is not what I imagined either of them to look like, so it stresses me out looking at this cover right now. Basically we find out that Poppy has an aggressive form of breast cancer pretty early on, and she has to go and get one of her breasts removed to try and slow down the cancer, but it's getting bad and pretty fast, so she's only given, you know, a certain amount of time to live, so she really gets into doing her bucket list. It's really, really, really sad most of the way because you know the whole time that it's leading up to basically her death. I felt there was a lot of times that she was going to die before something happened because she had all these certain events, special events she wanted to do planned, and I was like, she's gonna die the night before, she's gonna die the night before. But no, as expected, she dies towards the end of the book, as we know. The one thing that I get annoyed about in these sorts of books is that when like the male person, the male protagonist, or like a male character was always like, oh, she hasn't worn makeup the last couple times they saw her, she looks better without makeup, like makeup looks nice on her but she doesn't need it to look pretty, and I'm like, no, that doesn't happen in real life. When does anyone go anywhere without makeup and someone's like, oh, she looks just as pretty without makeup as with makeup on? one. No! That ain't real love. But maybe it is. So a friendship I really enjoyed with this was Quentin and Julia. They really hated each other because Julia felt like Quentin was going to take over from her relationship with Poppy and like being best friends and doing stuff together. When I agree with her, I understand her point of view because she's been with Poppy since they were like 11 years old. Been best friends for like 18 years. So I don't blame her that she didn't want Quentin to come and take over. But Julia is just funny. She's like so quick-witted, and so is Quentin. They sort of just bounce off each other and they're really quite mean to each other, but I really enjoyed their banter. So after we find out about Poppy's diagnosis and she does a couple things, we just skip ahead 5 months and I was like, whoa! Talking more about, we're getting a lot more of Julia's point of view. I feel like we got a lot more of her emotions. We didn't get too much out of Poppy emotionally wise, which I guess makes sense because like what are they gonna really say? When it came to lots of the emotional talking about, you know, losing Poppy and what they're gonna do and everything, it was sort of Julia's point of view, and we also got a lot of backstory about her family, her life, and to do with Poppy, and same with a bit with Quentin. We got a lot of backstory. Poppy was also, we did get a bit of that because she had her mother Scarlet who wasn't really around a lot when she was young, so we did get some backstory, but I feel like we got a lot more of Julia than anyone else. One of the surprises in here in the book was she got sick so soon. I thought we were gonna have a lot more story, but literally in the first couple of chapters we knew she was sick, like pretty straight up. But this led her to do lots of the cool, exciting things we saw. The shark bit where Poppy was going to go diving in a shark tank went on for such a long time. Not in a bad way, but Quentin could not get his shit together. He was like freaking out about her being down there. Like, calm down, man. Paris, they went to India and they got married. Oh my god, so many adventures to be had. Anyway, we'll get back to that. I liked the use of the title, I guess, in it. That was one thing I really enjoyed, was that it not only had the numbered, as in for like a numbered amount of days she has to live. They like to number a lot of things, which I found really interesting. Like they would have reasons for everything. They'd be like, here's 3 reasons why I wouldn't date you. Here's 3 reasons why I wouldn't do this. And they constantly listed lots of things they were talking about, which I thought was really cool. I thought it was an interesting take on, I guess, the name in a way, but also just as characters, that's just what they did. Another thing I've noticed about these characters is they really love to play games. They had this game called Queen for a Day, where if they were queen, they could change things in the world currently, then they would. It wasn't outrageous things, but it was an interesting game that I thought they would play. I feel like it was a bit, not sadistic, but a bit like, really? Like that didn't make me feel good. I would just be like depressed playing that game. I really liked Spike. He wasn't really in it much, but he was one of the band members. I liked him and Julia. I think they should get together. I think they unintentionally do, but not really said way. So we get to travel to Tuscany and there's a spoon and egg race with Julia and Quentin and they get a little too into it. I thought it was funny, but I didn't like how Poppy got so upset about it. I was like, really? Come on, it was funny. Like, of course they would play around and muck around with each other and try and beat each other because that's how they are. So Quentin leaves after they've seen the Dalai Lama. I was like, whoa, that's hectic. They got in to see the Dalai Lama and like speak to him. I was like, how does one get that? But obviously because she's dying, they allowed her to do that like so easily. Also, traveling. I was like surprised she was allowed to travel so much, but I guess if you're terminal, if you're not like physically like you have to be bedridden, I guess they let you travel. But I was like, wow, she used to travel bloody everywhere. I was like so surprised by that. But wow, the Dalai Lama was like an intense thing. So yes, we go to Tuscany and then we go to India to see Poppy's mum, Scarlet, and her and Quentin get married, and it's really on the rocks. Like she's gonna go very soon. So their wedding night, camping out under the stars and swags, was so cute, so sweet. But I was like surprised they had sex. I was like, wow, okay, is she not gonna like die? But alright, each to their own, each to their own. But yeah. Oh, I thought that Scarlet naming the orphanage after Poppy was such a beautiful thing. Oh my god, so cute. Such a cute moment. Even though Scarlet was not the best of mothers, I think that was a really nice memorial to her, I guess, in a way, for not being with Poppy. She was with the orphans in India that she named the school that she built after Poppy. I think that was really beautiful. And then they go to France because she wants to climb the Eiffel Tower, but she does get too sick and she has to return to Australia for her final couple weeks. Julia and Quentin go back at the end of the book to scatter her ashes from the top of the Eiffel Tower, which I thought was a really beautiful memorial for her. One part I didn't like was like Quentin decided to leave after Poppy almost like died, and she decided to get on a bus and leave, and Julia went to go get his ass back to Poppy because what a dickhead for leaving. Like, come on. on, she's gonna die like any minute, and you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna leave, it's too hard now. But I think they had like a scream match like in the middle of like the hallway of the bus, and I was like, whoa. Sorry, all the tourists. But yeah, there was a lot of sad and really just horrible moments, I guess, in the way of cancer is a horrible thing. It was a good book. I'm not a big contemporary person, as I've said. I don't really enjoy sad contemporaries. They're not my favorite thing ever, but this was a good book as a whole. So I will link it down below so you can go and check it out. I'm probably going to link this in my Goodreads as well, so it'll be on my review there. But yeah, overall, I gave this book a 4 stars. It was a great contemporary book. Lovely, beautiful, stunning, sad, all the sorts of feels that you get from a book like this. And thank you to the authors for signing my book for me. That's really cool. Anyway, that's about it for this review. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! This book is a I stopped that so bad. Mathematic